What's going on, people? It is Sunday, August 16th, 2021, and you are currently tuned into the Five Starr Wrestling Report channel. If it's your first time checking me out here, welcome. And if you would like to support me in my future content, I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you click that subscribe button there. Click the notification bell to keep yourselves updated on my weekly posts and uploads. And most importantly of all, make sure you rate this video and leave a comment down below. It's probably the most important thing that'll help me out in the algorithms here on YouTube. Comment, comment, comment. Whatever's on your mind, talk to me. And on the subject of uploads, the plan right now is to do 2 uploads a week. Right now, I have the Friday edition with the NXT and AEW Dynamite recap that I've been doing for the past couple weeks. And this is the first rendition of my Monday video that I'll be posting, where I will be talking about AEW Rampage. And the plan is to eventually tack on other material in the future. Not sure what I'm going to do yet there. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the recap here. The first edition of AEW Rampage from August 13, 2021, from my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Damn shame that I wasn't able to attend in person, but it's definitely cool to have that little nugget for the history books. First AEW Rampage show from Pittsburgh. Commentary team was Tony Schiavone, Mark Henry, Taz, and the ear-splitting, never would have worked in the territories, Chris Jericho. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you a commentary team that I would have loved to see back in the day. Chris Jericho and David Crockett. You want to talk about 2 polar opposite commentators and 2 opposite personalities. Well, there you go. Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega in the opener for the Impact World Championship. So for anyone that did not watch my Dynamite recap from this Wednesday, check that out on my channel. It's the most recent upload that I did. I had talked about, the fact that they were using the Impact World title as story advancement, and how I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of the first match on AEW's second premiere show being for a belt from another company. Yeah, again, more detail about that in the other video, so check it out. All that said, I liked the match for what it was. The good thing about Omega wrestling a guy like Christian is that Christian's been around the business long enough to be able to slow down Omega and, teach him how to work an effective main event style world title match. And I know that'll piss off a lot of Kenny Omega fans. He's like, what are you talking about? Kenny Omega's been around the business for years. And it's like, yeah, well, he has a style that works for him, and that's great, but it isn't for me. I can tolerate a Kenny Omega match in very small doses, or if he's working against the right kind of opponent. So this was the kind of opponent that worked for me. And what do you know? Omega working a match with Christian, it ended up being one of my favorite Kenny Omega matches I've seen in, probably since his Iron Man match with Pac 2 years ago. And the finishing sequence was perfect. Don Callis takes the ref on the apron. Omega calls out the teeny bopping buck fucks to bring a chair down. Omega tries to give Christian a one-winged angel, but Christian counters, hits the kill switch on the chair, and gets the pin to win the title. The perfect heel foliage finish. And again, for the record, yes, I understand why they did things the way that they did with involving the Impact title in there. They want to give Christian a pinfall over Kenny so that they could plant the idea that Christian can beat Kenny for the AEW title at All Out. And I also like the fact that Christian is now the Impact World Champion, because it'll definitely give that show a lot more credibility. Call me crazy here, but I think we can all agree that Christian is a more suitable world champion than a Rich Swann or a fucking Sami Callihan. So, thumbs up for that segment. Fuego del Sol versus Miro for the TNT Championship. Fuego del Sol, who resides in where, you ask? Mobile, Alabama. Okay, I'll admit, I had a good laugh at that. And even Chris Jericho was making fun of this on commentary. What the hell kind of luchador lives in Mobile, Alabama? Anyway, this was booked exactly how it should have been. Fuego was a house of fire early on, got his couple hope spots in, gets a near fall, and then Miro catches him with a Samoan drop, kills him with a super kick, and then taps him out with a camel clutch. Perfect. Apparently, Fuego's wrestled a bunch of AEW Dark Elevation matches. He's been part of that program, so he's been around for a while. Or at as some people joked about it. What do they call it? Tony's Figure Fed show. I mean, isn't that what essentially AEW Dark is? It's basically Shotgun Saturday Night during the late 90s. Just a bunch of randomly paired matches with underneath talent, jobbers, and tryouts. Nothing of major consequence. Not complaining about it. I'm legitimately asking if that's what Dark Elevation is, because I don't watch the show. Anyway, the contract deal. Let's talk about that for a minute here, because this has been on my mind pretty much for the last 2 days now. So they come back from commercial, and Fuego's in the ring. And by the way, I should point this out. So the stakes of this match were that not only was this match a TNT championship match, but if Fuego won, he would earn himself a contract with AEW. And right before they cut away from commercial, they had a little angle where Miro ripped up Fuego's contract. So, by all intents and purposes, that should have been the end of the segment. So they come back from commercial, and Fuego's still in the ring. And eventually, Sammy Guevara and Tony Khan come out to the ramp. And Tony hands Sammy a contract, and then he proceeds to give Sammy a couple very awkward-looking hugs, which we don't need to further elaborate on. So, discounting my dry attempt at humor here, let me fairly and rationally explain why I thought this was ridiculous and stupid in every conceivable way imaginable, because some people are going to defend this, and I just don't see a good argument for what they did here. This match had steps added to it. In order for Fuego to earn a contract, he had to beat Miro. And he lost the match clean. No bullshit, no interference, no nothing. Straight up, lost clean. And in fact, let's be honest, while yes, he got his hope spots in, the only reason he even got that far is because he jumped Miro before the bell even rang. So, for reasons that were explained as, these people love you, this was enough for Tony to whip up another contract and sign Fuego anyway. Even though, as Sammy even joked about, Fuego is like 1-50 in the last year, he's been beaten from pillar to post, has like no shred of credibility whatsoever besides some fanfare, but by God, he has heart, and the people like you. As many of our younger generation lads are indoctrinated to buy into today as paths to success. Anyway, the reason I'm crapping on this is not because I'm a dick, even though I am. The reason I'm crapping on it is that from day one of this company, I have been told as a fan, as a viewer at home, I have been told that wins and losses matter because this is a, quote, sports-based wrestling company. Now, how you interpret that depends on how close you've been paying attention to AEW's consistency with enforcing this role over the last 2 years. For my money, it has been hit and miss. However, this is a prime example here of them fucking around too much with the wins-loss mattering deal on a, quote, sports-based wrestling show. I don't care about passion, I don't care about heart, and I do not care about effort. And I particularly do not care about fan reaction. If the steps are, Fuego del Sol has to beat Miro to get a contract, that is the end of that discussion. Like, I don't watch sports, but please, for anybody that does, correct me if I'm wrong here, Sports teams earn awards and credibility through wins and losses, correct? They do not earn championships by putting in effort or because fans like them, right? The teams that compete in the Super Bowl have to have the best two records in the division, correct? The teams that compete in the World Cup every 4 years are the top two countries with the best records, correct? The guys that earn contracts for the top major sports teams in the league have to be the most elite of their previous divisions, correct? Like, sorry if I'm being too blunt about this, but this whole segment is a deeper reflection of our current pussified culture. Being told that effort is all you need to be successful. Like, the worst thing we ever devise as a culture is the participation trophy, and it's for exact moments like this is why it's such a societal tragedy. You want to know the right way to have Fuego earn his contract? You make that motherfucker work for it. You have him run a gauntlet of your contracted talent in a series of matches. You have him win a tournament. You have him win a ladder match. You have him pin one of your top guys on TV, especially if you're going to give him second chances. You don't fuck him, job him out in a 2-minute championship match, have him stand in the ring crying like a 10-year-old dweeb, and then give him a contract to console him because, oh, that's okay, Fuego, you put in effort, and you earned this after your heart-wrenching performance here tonight. Nah, dude, fuck that. You tell him you want this contract, it's yours, but your ass is going to be put through the ringer to get it. On Dynamite this week, you're going to show up and you're going to face, I don't know, insert heel names here. And you're going to have to pin all of those men's shoulders to the mat one by one to get it. And if you can't do that, if you get pinned or you get tapped out, if you can't get the job done, your ass is canned, no question. That's how you do it. But what do I know? I'm just a wrestling fan that's never worked a day in the business. Give me a break. All right, get off my soapbox there. Britt Baker versus Red Velvet in the main event for the Women's World title. So, as anyone with half a brain expected going in, Britt was clearly going to be the babyface since she was in her hometown of Pittsburgh. So, what do? Well, of course, they had her work as the heel. But, the odd thing is that they had Velvet working over Britt's injured wrist, so she was basically a heel, too. So, I don't know what was all going on there. It's one of those deals where it's like you knew ahead of time that no one in Pittsburgh was booing Britt, so just flip her babyface and, let her sell. Especially if she's going to go out there with an injury, kayfabe or not. Some people are going to try and spin it one way or the other. I don't really care. Match sucked, let's be frank. And, it wasn't just the face-heel dynamic that threw things off. They couldn't get the chemistry right. I've only seen like one or two matches with Red Velvet. The first one I saw was that horrific match with Allie where she damn near broke her neck and paralyzed herself. So she's still pretty green and doesn't have a lot of ring experience as far as I can tell. So I have no idea why she was getting a championship match right now. And I like Britt Baker. She's improved a lot since she started, but she is not really capable of carrying a long match, especially not a TV main event championship match. So for my money, I would not have booked this match as the main event. Should have been the opener. And if you're going to try and argue women's equality and all that hot garbage, well, here's my response. If you're a logical booker and you're looking to construct the best wrestling show you can, what match is going to produce better results? Christian versus Kenny or Britt versus Velvet? I rest my case. So the finish was Britt trying to do her lockjaw submission, but Velvet kept elbowing her right wrist. So Britt flipped it around so that she could wrap her bad arm around Velvet's neck and jam her good wrist into Velvet's mouth. Kind of a clever finish. So Britt retains, crowd goes crazy, and they do the afterbirth deal where Britt tries to do a post-match attack on Velvet. Again, why? She's not getting booed doing this, guys. It's completely futile. And then Chris Statlander did a run-in to take out Britt. So she gets booed, of course. Now, Chris is a heel. And then Jamie Hayter ran in from seemingly out of nowhere and laid out Chris and Velvet. And the crowd didn't really react either way to her, probably because they either didn't know who she was or just were really apathetic about the whole deal. So, yeah, this whole thing just really didn't work. I know they desperately want to keep Britt heel, but, sometimes you got to make changes on the fly, guys. It's wrestling. People get over in bizarre-ass ways. The reason Britt's been over to the extent that she has is mostly due to her promo work over the last year. And the thing that's so silly about what they're doing with her is that, if they want her to keep doing the promo work she's been doing, she doesn't have to be a heel to do it. She can easily cut the same edgy style promo she's been doing as a babyface. It's not like you'd have to drastically change her character in any way. I don't know, it's weird, but all in all, this show felt like it really could have been booked backwards. The one thing that I'll appreciate about Rampage going forward is that it is only an hour. With all the other wrestling content that's out there, there's no reason that this show needs to be 2 hours. It'll be an easy sit-through, an easy show to recap. It'll narrow its focus on a few subset of stories and characters each week, and I think that'll be a good format going forward. The other thing, too, is that, this was a particularly good show. You can't promise that they're all going to be the same. The one thing, though, that is good about a 1-hour wrestling show is that even if from start to finish it's not a particularly good program, it is only an hour long, so you don't feel like you're wasting your time. Whereas, 2 or 3 hour shows, you start to feel that fatigue, and, then it kind of starts to feel like a waste of time if the show's not really going well. So, again, this is a good thing about Rampage only being 60 minutes long. So, that's good. And like I said, with, kind of narrowing the focus down to several stories, and you're not featuring too many talents on the show, it'll kind of give a better way to develop characters and develop stories because you're not pressed for time and you're not trying to cram in so much garbage into one show. So definitely a good thing there. Guys, if you want to keep in touch with my future content, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell. I will be making posts every Friday and Monday. In addition, make sure you give me a thumbs up here on this video, and most importantly, leave a comment down below. Doesn't matter what the topic is, just comment. And the last thing too, if you have not done so already, check me out on the Rumble platform as well. I will be using that as a duplicate uploading site, just in case YouTube tries to pull anything. I'll at least have a secondary location to store my content. I would appreciate all the support over there that I can get as well. With that all said, I will be back on Friday for the NXT Dynamite review. Peace out, and thanks for watching. And again, if you guys have any recommendations for anything that I could do as a secondary subject or topic on the Monday recaps, that would be good to just kind of get some insight on that too. If the Rampage thing is all that really needs to be done, then we can stick with that for the time being. But again, as I try to grow this channel and gain recognition and viewership, all the support and all the feedback that I could get would be well worth it. So whether it's good feedback, bad feedback, it doesn't matter to me at this point. Just any insight that I can get would be fantastic. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on Friday.